Every Bitcoin transaction you've ever sent contains a field that has been given 3 completely different jobs over Bitcoin's lifetime, and most people have never heard of it. It's called the sequence field. Just 4 bytes tucked inside every transaction input. First, Satoshi used it for payment channels. Then it became a signal for replaced by fee. Then it was reinterpreted as a relative time lock. Each use built on the failure of the last. Let's start at the beginning. To understand what this field does today, we need to see what it was designed to do. Start with its location. A Bitcoin transaction has inputs and outputs. Each input references a previous transaction's output. It contains the transaction ID, 32 bytes, the output index, 4 bytes, a script proving authorization, and finally, 4 bytes called the sequence number, a 32-bit unsigned integer holding any value from 0 up to roughly 4.3 billion. For years, nobody paid much attention to these bytes. Satoshi's original vision: the sequence field was a built-in version counter for off-chain payment channels. Here's the setup. Alice and Bob want to play a card game with Bitcoin stakes. They each deposit half a Bitcoin into a multi-sig output. Multi-sig means an output requiring multiple private keys to spend. This funding transaction goes on-chain. Now they create a spending transaction splitting the funds evenly, half a Bitcoin each, with sequence number 0. Their refund, signed by both, held off-chain. Alice wins round 1. New version, sequence 1. Alice gets 0.6 Bitcoin. Bob gets 0.4. Bob wins the next round. Sequence 2. Alice gets 0.55. Bob gets 0.45. Each update increments the sequence number. The key assumption: miners will always prefer the highest sequence number. When finished, they set the sequence to its maximum value, all bits set to 1, marking the transaction as final. That version gets broadcast and confirmed on-chain. Elegant idea, fatal flaws. 3 problems killed this mechanism. First, strike 1. Policy, not consensus. Policy means rules that software voluntarily follows. Consensus means rules the network rejects blocks for violating. Miners could accept a higher sequence number, but nothing forced them to. A miner could simply confirm sequence 0 and ignore sequence 2. Strike 2, race conditions. Either party could broadcast a version favoring them. Whichever transaction reached the miner first might win. Strike 3, bandwidth attack. An attacker sending 1,000 replacement transactions per minute, each 200 bytes, uses about 20 kilobytes of bandwidth. But those replacements propagate to roughly 50,000 nodes, costing the network about 10 gigabytes per minute. That's a 500,000 times amplification factor. The mechanism was disabled entirely. For years, the sequence field was effectively dead. Every wallet set it to the maximum value and moved on. Then it got a second life. The problem: transactions with too low fees got stuck in the mempool. The waiting area before confirmation. Users needed a way to bump their fees. BIP 125 introduced opt-in replaced by fee. The rule is simple. If any input sequence value falls below the maximum -1, below hex FFFFFFFE, the transaction signals that it's replaceable. The standard choice is hex FFFFFFFD, the maximum -2. Why is the threshold 2 below max rather than 1? Because FFFFFFFE, 1 below max, was reserved for a different purpose, opting into relative time locks without signaling RBF. One important point: RBF does not let anyone steal your transaction. Only the sender, who holds the private keys, can create a valid replacement, and the lab replacement must pay a strictly higher fee. Here's the complete map. At the maximum, all Fs in hex, the transaction is final. No replacement, no time lock. 1 below max, FFFFFFFE, no RBF signal, and the relative time lock disable flag is set. 2 below max, FFFFFFFD, the classic BIP 125 RBF signal, with time locks disabled, values with bit 31 set from hex 800000000 through FFFFFFFD signal RBF but disable time locks. Values from 0 through hex 7 FFFFFFF, bit 31 clear, activate both RBF and relative time locks. The sequence field is no longer a simple counter, it's a packed bit field where individual bits carry distinct meanings. BIP 68 gave the sequence field a third purpose, relative time locks. The distinction from absolute time locks is critical. Bitcoin already had n-log time, a transaction-level field setting an absolute earliest confirmation. Not before block 700,000 or not before January 1st, 2026, that's fixed to a specific point in time. A relative time lock is different. It says, this output cannot be spent until 30 blocks after it was confirmed. The countdown starts from the moment of confirmation, not from a calendar date. Relative time locks are per input. Each input in a transaction can impose its own independent delay. This was activated as a soft fork, a backward-compatible consensus rule change, applying only to transactions with version 2 or higher. BIP 68 packs the relative time lock into the sequence field's 32 bits. Let's break down this register bit by bit. First, the full row of 32 boxes, numbered from bit 31 on the left down to bit 0 on the right. Now, bit 31, the most significant bit, is the disable flag. Set it to 1, and the time lock is off for this input. Set it to 0, and the time lock is active. Next, bits 30 through 23 are reserved and unused, grayed out for now. Bit 22 is the type flag. 0 means the lock is measured in blocks. 1 means multiples of 512 seconds, roughly 8.5 minutes per unit. Bits 21 through 16 are also reserved. Now the important part, bits 15 through 0, the bottom 16 bits, hold the actual lock value. 16 bits means a maximum of 65,565. Below the register, we can see the implications. In block mode, 65,535 blocks at about 10 minutes each gives roughly 455 days. In time mode, 65,535 times 512 seconds gives about 388 days. Either way, the maximum relative lock caps at roughly 1 year. Let's walk through two concrete examples. First, a 30-block lock. An output is confirmed in block 1000. A spending transaction sets bits 31 to 0, meaning time locks are enabled. Bit 22 is also 0, meaning we're counting blocks. Bits 15 through 0 encode the value 30, which is hex 001E. The full sequence value is hex 0000001E. This span would be invalid at block 1001, 1015, or 1029. The earliest valid block is 1030, a gap of exactly 30 blocks from confirmation. Now for the second example, a 1-hour time lock. Bit 31 stays 0. Bit 22 is set to 1, indicating time-based counting. 1 hour is 3,600 seconds. Divided by 512, that gives approximately 7. Bits 15 through 0 encode the value 7. The full sequence value is hex 00400007. The span becomes valid roughly 3,584 seconds, about 1 hour, after the output confirms. Step back and look at what happened. The sequence field's 3 lives illustrate constrained evolution, perhaps Bitcoin's core design philosophy. The protocol can't easily add new transaction fields, so existing fields get reinterpreted. Era 1, around 2009, Satoshi's transaction replacement. It was policy enforced, vulnerable to abuse, and disabled within a year. Era 2, 2016. Opt-in replaced by fee via BIP 125, a policy signal giving senders fee bumping flexibility. Era 3, also 2016, BIP 68, relative time locks. Consensus enforced rules making the sequence field's individual bits meaningful at the deepest level of Bitcoin's validation logic. Relative time locks became foundational infrastructure for the Lightning Network and other Layer 2 protocols. making the payment channel vision Satoshi originally embedded in this field finally viable through a completely different mechanism. The same 4 bytes that once tried and failed to enable payment channels now make modern payment channels possible. Sometimes the best path forward is through the same door, opened differently.